Harrison Price for Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, presentation of Bet365. We're coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio here at the historic Wall Center. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Matt Sakaris with Blake Price, four-time Juno Award winner Mike Rogerson, hitting switches, conducting things alongside intern Hayden Stewart. Big show coming up for you. After a Vancouver Canucks victory in Music City, gigantic day in the National Football League for trades. Yeah. I mean, I don't remember a trade deadline of this order. We'll get into that as well. Plus, of course, the Caps and Lions preparing for playoff games, and Seahawks preparing for a game on the weekend as well with a new toy for quarterback Sam Darnold.
Lions and Whitecaps with different length runways
in
their preparation.
Indeed.
Yes. But preparing nonetheless.
I almost feel like in a couple of weeks' time we're going to have to remind people the Whitecap season is still going on and that they have a playoff game on Saturday.
Well, we're going to get to the robust tickets line later, but I'm glad that it is, because if it had been a slow ramp up, it would have been really hard to start screaming in the days leading up. Guys, remember you were having fun with us a few weeks back. Can you imagine?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, now people are pot committed. It's good.
But here's the big question, Blake. It's a Tuesday in November.
Yeah.
You don't have a baseball game to watch. You don't have a football game to watch. You don't have a Canucks game to watch. Do you even have an MLS game to watch? Do you have a soccer match to watch?
Not until Friday.
What are you doing this evening?
None of my kids have sports tonight.
Is this like quality family time? Everyone sits down and watches a movie together?
I cleaned the garage on Sunday. Wow. Conversation.
Mm-hmm. Lucky you. Maybe you can decorate the Christmas tree.
Maybe.
Going to a two-pronged model in the Price family household this year.
Long-term fake, short-term real. Different rooms.
Got through Halloween, saw all that Christmas messaging from retailers, perhaps heard Mariah Carey, and decided let's go and put up a fake tree until it's time in about 3 or 4 weeks to get a real tree so that the real tree is still robust and fresh for Christmas
socially
Day.
Responsible. Facebook Marketplace. It's a used tree.
It's a used fake tree?
Yeah. It's very nice. My first ever fake tree.
Really?
Yep.
They're better.
Well, it can't be the smell of the real.
Yeah, but you don't have to clean up after them.
Oh, well, if you water your real one, you shouldn't either. But
hold on, you water the real one?
That's what you have to do. Yes, you water.
You have to water it. You have to go harvest it, set it up, and of course it doesn't set up quite as neatly as the fake one, and then water it as the month goes along?
Yeah, it drinks a copious amount of water.
You're kidding me.
No.
Oh, my gosh. I have been a fake tree guy my whole life.
Clearly. Wow.
I am just learning this here.
Even some food. Sprinkling some food in there, too. Keep it going.
Food. Nutrients.
Yeah.
Well, we got some nutrients for the Canucks' soul last night, and boy, did they need it. We'll get to the victory in Nashville. We'll start with the Redwoods Golf Course poll question. Is Tim Willander in the NHL to stay? You can vote yes, you can vote no. Do so at the Sakaris Price X and YouTube channels. Blake Price, first crack.
I think that it's just too easy in today's cap world to take advantage of an ELC. So if we're being literal about it, no. I think he touches a foot down in Abbotsford once or twice the rest of the season because they just have to for cap gymnastics. It's not fair. Life isn't fair, Tom. But I really like what I've seen from him. And, a spin-off question of this one, Matt, is, does he play more games in the NHL than the AHL this year? I'll say yes to that.
More games in the NHL?
Yeah.
Okay. I voted no for some of the same reasons you did. Sometimes it's one step back, right, in development with a player. I think he's gaining the coach's trust. He played 19 minutes in a second NHL game. He played 16 minutes in his third NHL game. Granted, Quinn Hughes did not participate in those two games. Was down to 11 minutes last night. So you're seeing a little bit of the to and fro there already.
Yep.
That is a beautiful play. He is, first of all, he's a gorgeous skater.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful play last night, though, and one that, is any Canuck defenseman capable of making that play outside of Hughes? I'm not sure there is.
And it's still different than Hughes, right? Like Hughes is such an east-west skater as well. Tom's not going to be as agile as Quinn is, but he's got more the Jyrke Lume north-south game that is really beautiful to watch.
Yeah, the edge work, the suddenness of Hughes, he doesn't have that.
No,
but who
but
does?
If you do, him and Makar are in a different stratosphere.
Hudson, it's a very small list of guys who can do that. But yeah, I'm not sure there's another Canucks defenseman who can create that play on the Boeser 3-1 goal.
Nope, probably not. No, Mancini's wanting to be that, but he's not yet.
Yeah, and Foot's comments about Mancini and having to reel him in a little bit in the preseason, that still echoes in my mind when I consider this.
Yeah.
But the test for me with NHL defensemen, we saw this with Tanev way back when, is there just a poise there? Is there just a calm and a belonging?
Yeah.
Does their game shout those things?
And the batting average doesn't have to be perfect right off the bat.
Of course not.
You're going to swing and miss a couple times.
Yeah, he's been susceptible on goals.
Yeah.
They've given up goals with him on the ice. That's going to happen. But for the most part, he ticks those boxes for me too, Blake. Of course, he is the first-round pick here. Elias Pettersson and Victor Mancini are not. The organization does have
there is always a bias.
Yeah. The organization has a significant stake in Mancini because, of course, he was part of the JT Miller trade, and they want that trade to look good with the passage of time. Now, some evaluators are a little bit split on Mancini. Some just see him as a 6th, 7th defenseman in the NHL. That's that. Others think there's a second pair upside there because of the skating with the size and decent hands as well. He has been turnover prone. He hasn't looked comfortable on the puck in the NHL. He looks glorious on the puck in the AHL. So I think there's something left to be determined there. Is Willander leapfrogging DPD? DPD's had a couple shockers here.
Yeah, I see people are, I have to, now that all the other sporting distractions are kind of in the rear view, I'm gonna drill down. I'm gonna reserve judgment on DPD. I've read a lot of slander on DPD. I was never as high on DPD as a lot of other people. I've been lower than a lot of the biggest proponents of DPD to begin with, but now I'm also taking that same tact with the detractors and saying just relax just a little bit here. So I give me another 5-10 games on DPD before I
markets and fans who see a physical player, particularly if their team lacks tough or physical players, tend to latch on and build up that player into a little more than what he's
noisy. He's noisy.
He's a noisy player. Mm-hmm. He's a loud player. I love the way he throws the body and plays physically. But, of course, that is a small part of the game, right? The bigger part of the game is how do you prevent goals? How are you on the puck?
And a defender that has a temptation to lay the body is dangerous.
Sometimes you get yourself out of position because you're, quote-unquote, finishing
You hit the wrong guy.
Right.
You hit the guy with the puck, but he quite easily gets rid of the puck to the guy who's streaking past you now.
Right.
As you try to lay the body.
Yeah. Then you're out of position. Someone is taking advantage of the space that you have
vacated.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I'm not there yet, and I did vote no, particularly if a roster crunch comes. And, of course, they've got 7 regulars now out. It was 8 with Quinn.
Yeah.
So you are going to see some of these bodies coming back and decisions having to be made. What I will say, if that roster crunch doesn't come soon and he's able to keep on keeping on playing these games, he may very well burrow himself into a regular spot in the lineup where they just look at it and say, okay, no, we can't play without this guy. A smooth skating right shot defenseman who's comfortable on the puck and can create some. That is something we want in our lineup night in, night out, more than Mancini's size, more than D. Petey's physicality. I do think they're going to make room for Forbert when he comes back, because look at how shocking this penalty kill is, Blake. It's dreadful.
Yeah.
And that is what Forbert does. So I know everybody wants the young ones to play. I'm very much the same. I'm far more interested in those guys than Derek Forbert. But I think an NHL coaching staff, especially this NHL coaching staff with Adam Foote, with what his MO was as a player, right, is going to look kindly on a big physical penalty-killing defenseman in Derek Forbert, particularly when you're looking at a 70% kill rate, which is just nowhere near good enough, and get him back in once he regains health. So we're both on the same vote here. We also would both vote for you to hit up the Redwoods Golf Course and that beautiful, large, covered, heated driving range. You can work on your game all winter long at the Redwoods. And if you have children ages 6 to 16, you can set them up for the sport of a lifetime with private and semi-private junior lessons available and flexible to your schedule. Winter lessons are available too. We're going to get into those as we move along here. Check them out, redwoods-golf.com/instruction. Let's get to our top story, brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, Foolish Winery. Canucks back to 500 again, another winning road trip, another victory beyond regulation, and Brock Boeser beats the buzzer. How's that for alliteration?
It's a lot. Quadruple B's. But I honestly...
Bees in the hive.
I wondered if it was going to count, because as they celebrated, the clock had been wound all the way down to 0.0, but what a backhand it is. So tough to get it up in a hurry like he does there when you're right up against the goaltender. It's a spectacular play. Didn't think they had the time out of the corner to make it happen. They do. And you're right. The end result is a 7-7 record that, it's you are right on the glass half full or glass half empty line here, because
we're going to get into this.
You can debate where they are right now till the cows come home, and nobody's right. I think we're going to have to see the next 68 games, Matt. Believe it or not.
I was going to get into this later, and J-Pat with a fun tweet about all this, but I think I'm going to have to. If that's a poll question, glass half full, half empty.
Yeah.
I think I have to vote glass half empty, because 82 points is not enough.
Completely true, but again, the hockey world is looking at the Vancouver Canucks injury list and going, "Are you kidding me?"
Fair enough.
So if this happened,
and there should be more points available to them than 50%, which is their margin right now, because of those guys coming back. Also because of preponderance of home games over road games going forward.
Yep, that too.
But in the here and now, you are what your record is. Nobody is going to gift you points because you have people missing.
Here's the real question that I'm asking, I guess, is:
it may be Christmas at your house, Blake, but nobody is making it Vancouver Canucks Christmas in November.
The real question is, how much better? And I think Hughes and Garland are easy tap-ins. But the rest of the roster, and I'm putting Hedl in a separate box because who knows when he'll ever return. But in terms of all the other players, the Blugers of the world, Mancini, etc., how much better are they than the guys that have replaced them? They probably are, but are they that much better that this team vaults to a winning record? I don't know.
Höglander and Garland give you obviously something a little different.
Well,
although the
Höglander's got a lot to
bottom
prove.
line,
He's got a lot to prove.
Fair enough.
Yep.
5-4, they beat the Predators in Nashville, avenged the loss from 11 days ago, improved to 7-7 on the season, as Blake said. 1 point out of a playoff spot in a tightly packed Pacific Division, especially at the top. 3-2 road trip. It's 2 road trips and 2 winning road trips.
2-1 road trip, yeah.
Oh, sorry, 2-1 road trip, 3-2 in the previous road trip. It's 2 winning road trips for the Vancouver Canucks.
Mm-hmm.
So on that score, it's good. They're also 4-0 beyond regulation this year. Quite the contrast from bleeding 14 OT points last year. And with perhaps a different tact at how to attack the overtime. We'll get into that with J-Pat later. I mean, you said it all last year. You have Quinn Hughes in the overtime. Like, that should be
back to the road record, though, for a second. I mean, because they've played so many, Matt, like they're a quarter of the way, basically, through their road schedule. And they have a winning record on the road. You have to assume the home record comes around. You have to assume.
Well, except for Blake, there was last year's home record.
But you have to assume that they
The law of averages, you can't be that bad at home 2 years
in a row. Like you can't be.
Me?
Bad teams don't do that, even bad teams. So you have to assume. So right now they are a quarter of the way through, and they have a winning record away from home.
That all said, on half full, half empty, you love goal differential, Blake. They're -5.
They're within arm's reach of 0. -5 is not great through 14 games, but it's also that's fixable. Look at all the double-digit teams below them.
That's right.
Preds, Wild, Sharks, Blues, Flames already well past double digits, -11 or worse.
Yeah. Blackhawks +1. Had a boy, Bedard.
Yeah, they're fixing some things.
Of course, Chicago in here tomorrow night. Boeser from Elias with less than 2 seconds left in OT. Nice chop pass from Petey. It sets that one. Sets up Boeser alone in front. Yeah, and I love the fact also they played to the gun too. You know, like Brock 2 on the night. He's up to 6 in 12 games. It's a 40-goal pace, minus, of course, his games missed. Let's hear from him. Here's number 6 on the OT winner.
There and Petey made a tremendous pass, so I'm happy that we could sneak that one out.
Oh, that was very quick.
Mm-hmm. Very brief.
I thought it was a longer one. I thought I had heard him discuss more about. Okay.
Brock's rarely, waxing poetically.
Oh,
he's a man of few words.
You're selling him short here. You give him a good script, he is still a young Robert Redford.
Mm.
We covered his draft, and social media was relatively new, or at least Twitter, I want to say, was relatively new. Was it Twitter?
Yeah, Twitter. Twitter's going, yeah.
And so the Canucks draft this kid out of, well, it wasn't even North Dakota yet. It was
high school, Minnesota.
No, it was the USHL team there in, was it in Iowa? Dubuque? Wherever it was. And so the photos of, and people were on, look at his hair.
Prince Charming.
That's right. He's a young Robert Redford.
Mm-hmm.
Just lost Redford. Paterson also nets 2 points. It's 6 in his last 6. It's 8 in his last 9. It was a slow start and a terrible game Saturday in Minnesota, but trending well there too.
I mean, you could, again, back to glass half full. He just, that snapped 3 games without a point. So it's, it's hard to find the truth.
The other thing I'd like to point out, Blake, 36 shots last night. And, we had a good discussion about shots over the last year, several years with Tocchet and the way he played.
Mm-hmm.
6 from Boeser, 6 from Hughes, 6 from DeBrusk, 4 from Sherwood, 3 from Roenick, 3 from Kane. It's almost like if your best players shoot the puck on net enough, you're going to get more goals out of it.
Yeah.
And God knows this team needs goals.
Yeah, I saw a stat the other day about Rick Tocchett's last
Ditto.
4 NHL seasons.
I'm just shuddering to think what this group of players would look like offensively in a Tocchet system where he's asking you to hold on to the puck and try and generate that grade A shooting opportunity.
Flyers are 31st in the league in shots taken. That team is not good enough to be that picky.
Yeah.
And neither is this Canucks team, to be honest.
And the other thing about last night is 36 shots. It's only 20 missed or blocked. That's a good percentage there. Get the puck to the net. Because here's the thing. You're not good enough. You are not teaming with snipers through the lineup where you're good enough to be, he shoots, he scores, especially from distance, or to take advantage of the few opportunities or the few shots you're going to take in a Tocchet system. They need greasy goals, Blake. They need net front goals.
Yeah.
Which brings me to Evander Kane. Also trending well. His second good game in the last 3. Scores twice. His first goal as a Canuck, as it turns out, because, of course, the review in St. Louis takes it off the board. also gets called for a phantom high-sticking penalty. We'll get to that in a second.
I didn't think of him as the 1T from distance kind of a player, but hey, by all means, if they're going to go in.
Well, and that's probably an irregular goal for him at this point.
But it was a good goal.
Yeah. But, like, he's going to have to be the net front greasy goal guy.
Yeah, I mean, he was a circle shooter.
Like, the play
in his
he
prime,
makes the play he makes, was it Saturday or was it against St. Louis?
The disallowed goal.
No. Right by the net front on the forecheck where Sherwood shovels it in from short distance.
Yeah.
Like either him scoring those sorts of goals or creating those sorts of goals in small areas in and around the net.
But his disallowed goal is sort of more the kind of goal that I think he can score too. Sliding through the slot on a loose puck. You know, that's more vintage, I think.
Well, let's hear from the Vancouver guy. Here's Evander on scoring his first as a Canuck.
Yeah, it was nice to finally get one that counted and followed up with another one shortly after. And, looking hopefully that gets me on a roll.
How important was this win just to close off the road trip and before you guys head home?
Yeah, it was a big win. It gets us back to 500 and, going home to play a couple of games was important. And now we have to start playing a little bit better at home.
There you go. Back to the losing record at home.
Yeah, well, I think Boeser mentioned it too post-game last night.
Yeah, they want to be better.
You have to.
And it's 4 straight here at home, which immediately you think, oh, great. But after the Hawks and Jackets, it's the Avs and Jets.
That's tough opponents.
Win these first 2. Win the first 2.
And Evander features as we get into Crave the Stats, brought to you by Uber Eats. And that phantom high sticking penalty, and we'll get to Adam Foote's comments in a moment, but Evander Kane has drawn 10 penalties this season. It's third most in the league. Evander Kane has 28 penalty minutes, 9 minors and a 10-minute misconduct. Those 9 minors, second in the league. Now, the one thing you should know is that this is not an Evander Kane phenomenon.
Guys that stick their nose into things get this sort of treatment. McAvoy and Holla, you see 1 and 4 rank there respectively, are also on the flip side of the coin, just like Evander Kane is.
That's right. They have drawn a ton of penalties as well, those two guys. So, we're learning Evander Kane a little bit by watching him night to night. We're certainly familiar with the player and the person. Vancouver guy. He's played a prominent role in the past on some pretty good teams, whether that was, I guess he was more a supporting player in Edmonton, but in San Jose, Winnipeg, Buffalo. And I do think he has a reputation with officials, and I do think we saw that rear its head last night. I know if you talk to people in Edmonton, there are some that are still very sore about some of the penalties in last year's Stanley Cup final, particularly given it was a Gregory Campbell AGM team in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I had a number of people in Edmonton reach out to me the last 2 Cup finals about, so this is what you guys were talking about in 2011 with Gregory and Coley.
Speaking of Eric Holla, would you? If you're the Vancouver Canucks, second line center buffer?
The way you fired that question to me brought me back to the old school days of sports talk radio. Yes. When we talked about things that we don't talk about as readily anymore, Blake. Gosh.
Somewhat intentional.
It felt like I was...
He was at one point, a long time ago, a 55-point guy with Vegas, but he is a 35 to 45-point guy, generally speaking.
What's the contract?
Last year at 3.1.
Has he played the middle this year?
Yep.
It would certainly not for big return.
No.
No.
But, yeah, they might want to hold on for a bigger return because he's a UFA to beat, right? So he might help somebody, a rich team, as depth later on. Just saying. After watching him last night, he got a goal. He's got 8 points this season.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's
3 and 5
good
this year.
Okay, so here's Adam Foote. He wasn't having that high-sticking call in the postgame, and this is a distinction from his, I don't know if you would call Tocchet a head coaching mentor whatever he would call Rick Tocchet, but you may remember, folks, the last 2.5 years, pretty much without fail, when there was an officiating controversy in the moments after a Canucks game and Tocchet is meeting the media, he would typically not go down the road of criticizing. He would oftentimes say, so-and-so is a good official. And we, in our analysis of it, is we thought it was pretty smart. Like, we thought there's nothing you can do about it. May make you feel better emotionally to get it off your chest, but what's more important is making sure you set up the next game and the game after and the game after, especially with that individual referee, to hopefully get the fair share of whistles. Well, Adam Foote went right at this referee. Here's Coach.
Well, we were all over them. They could have easily been up 4 or 5 goals, and I mean, they missed a couple calls, and especially Kaner's. It wasn't a penalty at all, and it was actually the other way. It was a diving call, and they missed it. Kaner had a good game, but I like the way we hung in there. We were resilient. I mean, you saw that goal they got to tie. It was just a breakdown as far as they hit a stick and then a screen shot. So, you know, I was just happy that we stayed within ourselves. Should have won that in the without OT for sure, but that happens some nights.
So,
and it's a good point.
He wasn't,
as we break down sort of, the Canucks have only won 3 games in regulation. That was a tough call. They score a power play goal late to tie. That should have been a win in regulation.
Yeah. Although, they had blown a 2-goal lead earlier in the game too.
Yeah.
So he's not spitting fire there, and probably because they win, right?
Yep.
Like, he's not ranting and raving and being demonstrative.
If they lose, he probably is angrier. Yep.
But the words in isolation, I'm sure, caught the attention of NHL officials. They have rabbit ears, and the league office. Well, especially when he says not only is it not eye sticking, but it's a dive.
It's actually a penalty the other way.
So you guys not only missed it on my guy, you missed it. So it's 2 errors in 1.
Well, that often happens.
Blake,
like, how many hooking calls are are actually the guy holding the stick? Right?
And honestly, Blake,
it happens.
What I worry about from a Canucks perspective, and we saw this with Stéphane Auger and Alex Burrows way back when. Heard this from Tim Peel once upon a time too. NHL referees some of them suffer from ref show syndrome. And I would bet, especially the way the NHL works with hierarchies and made men, there would be some referees out there looking at Adam Foote isn't a made coach yet. He's coached 14 games in his NHL career. He may be a made NHL guy as a player, but we got to teach this new head coach a lesson. You watch the whistles tomorrow against Chicago. And you watch them again later this week. Columbus on Saturday, if anybody's watching Columbus on Saturday. No, Blake, I worry about this stuff because I don't trust these NHL officials.
Yeah, I hear you to some degree. I think what the line that they approached and did not cross, I think is a decent one. I don't think that anything comes of this, but you don't want to go to the well too much. What I will say is you do want to point to the sign on the wall that says the Wally Wano rule. Don't put yourself into a position where a bad call costs you a game.
That's correct.
Get a 2-goal lead. Dare to dream.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Through 14 games, I haven't had a big problem with officiating this year in Canucks games. I think it's been pretty good, actually. Last year, Blake and I had this conversation, too. Do you remember last year? We got into February and March or something like that. And we went, gosh, we haven't done many shows this year with Canucks fans kicking and screaming about calls in the previous game.
Yeah, and for a middling team, that says a lot because you generally have a lot more to be angsty about.
Honestly, I think NHL officiating has gotten better over the last few years. I can't quantify that, but just my eye test, I think the last 2 years, year and a bit, I don't find myself screaming at the TV. I don't find myself baffled by some of the calls. Now, The goaltender interference penalty the other night sticks out. This Evander Kane penalty sticks out. But I don't necessarily
both Evander Kane related.
Believe it or not,
yes.
Blake.
Yes.
What's up with Uber Eats?
They are your go-to. When you're on a game day and you need to make sure it's perfect, Uber Eats. Enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long. You don't want to be bothered with going out, getting all the things that you need, whether it's snacks, drinks, so it could be paper plates and napkins if you're hosting a bunch of people over. Get all the ingredients via Uber Eats, assisting every fan's experience all season long. And game day specials, now that they're back home as well. When the Canucks are playing at home, get buy one, get one 6-piece chicken McNuggets from McDonald's in Vancouver, for instance. Only on Uber Eats.
Jake DeBrusk scores. Remember him?
Rings a bell.
Just his third goal of the season, his 5th point of the season. Boeser and DeBrusk scoring in the same game for the first time this year. It would be really nice if their two most accomplished goal scorers could get it together at the same time.
Pretty important.
DeBrusk is known as Mr. November. Cue the national song. He's done a lot of scoring in this month over his career. God, is he streaky.
Yeah.
And I saw a tweet yesterday. I forget, didn't catch the name or remember the account. Are we too lenient on DeBrusk when he goes through these slumps? Like, do we not pin the tail on him as much as we should, given what he's being paid, given that he's a top-line winger with power play minutes?
He's not getting paid that much, A, in the New World Order.
Well, he's getting paid more than most every other Canucks forward outside of Paterson and
but generally,
Boeser.
He led the team in scoring last year, for heaven's sakes. I don't think it would be great to have this guy, score at a pace that is predictable. But there's a reason why he's making 5 point whatever and not 12. Like that's the big difference to jump from him to Kaprizov if you want to go all the way to the top.
He's making 5.5. He signed his deal in the last year before the cap significantly jumped, right? So understand that as well.
So that extra $10.5 million is for predictable scoring. You're getting him on a third of the freight of Kirill Kaprizov, and so how he gets to his 28 goals, I don't think you can quibble with. As long as he's getting those goals and isn't an empty net merchant. And I don't even care if he's a power play merchant. How you score your goals, when you score, if you're scoring a decent amount of them, I don't really think you can be picky about a player at that price point. Again, if he's a $9 million scorer or a $15 million scorer, different criticism. But how he gets to 28 doesn't matter.
Second question on this, and this would apply less to you and me than to others in local media. Does he sometimes get a pass because he's such a nice guy and good talker?
Does that happen in sports? Covering sports? Yes, that does happen. But I don't think that's the chief reason here. Okay. Again, the guy making 11.6 faces a lot of criticism
because he makes 11.
Because he makes 11.6, biggest piece of the salary cap.
And because it's an 18-month slump, for God's sakes, and how many frontline players go through that kind of? I mean, that's.
If Elias Pettersson has 3 more years at 5.5, I guarantee you nobody's pissing and whining about his 10, 11 points.
You have another $5 million forward on the roster, and that's meaningful.
That's what people fail to grasp still about the criticisms of Elias Pettersson.
Yep.
Nobody is saying Elias Pettersson should not be in the National Hockey League. No one is meaning that. No one is saying that.
No one is saying that he's not a poor. No one is saying that he's a bad two-way hockey player.
No one is saying that. He gets held to the highest standards because he gets paid the most money by a wide margin. That's why. Don't forget that. Don't be disconnected from the criticisms of Elias Pettersson.
I did not have Tuesday, November 4th, 34 minutes into the show with Blake getting a little yelly at the camera.
I'm not even criticizing him today.
Maybe it has something to do with the fact that he's going home to no sports and a family Christmas movie.
No, and I actually don't have anything bad to say about Pettersson from last night. Nothing at all.
Will you be watching something staged in Fort Langley tonight?
God help me.
Mike works on some of these Christmas films in Fort Langley.
There was a
that
request.
Are shot in August. Is it July or August, Mike? When do you get after those?
It's usually July and starring Danny DeVito usually.
2 nights ago.
Is Lauren Graham from Gilmore Girls in any of them?
She did Mighty Ducks here. That's true. She does know Vancouver. 2 nights ago, I got the first request. Let's watch a Christmas movie. Nope. Can't do it.
One of the Duffs?
The first one that came up on one of the streamers was Xmas. EX-Mas. Starring nobody that you know.
Carmen mentioned this to me the other day.
I'm like, we're not watching that.
I fired up my Netflix, and it was suggesting Christmas movies.
Yeah.
She's like, it's November 1st. They have done a sensational job of, big retail this is, of turning the Christmas season, which used to be a December thing, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, and frankly, maybe still is in pockets of the U.S. where you have the late Thanksgiving. But here in Canada, even before they take down the Halloween decorations, they're prepping the Christmas stuff.
Thanksgiving movies are different. You can almost start watching those. Like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is actually a Thanksgiving movie, I believe. I think he's trying to get home for Thanksgiving.
Well, some will say Thanksgiving is even bigger in the States than Christmas.
Girls, I think that was Thanksgiving. It's a great movie.
All I know is the phrase war on Christmas used to be used. It's got like
Beautiful
a
girls.
7-8 week runway.
Mm-hmm.
What else in life gets this sort of promotion?
It's true.
And Blake, terrific team win with lots of contributors last night. Quinn Hughes isn't one of them. At least not on the score sheet.
Not on the score sheet. He was
he
on
plays
the ice.
28 minutes in his return after missing 4 games. And to further our half full, half empty 7-7 team vibe check, boy, you haven't really gotten a ton out of Quinn Hughes this year. It's 7 points in 10 games. Okay.
Well, he hasn't worn a cape, if that's what you mean. No. He has not had to wear the cape.
Has there been a single game where we've walked out of it going, Quinn Hughes? Quinn Hughes is the difference in that game. Quinn Hughes is the best player on the ice. That's a game that goes against them if they don't have 43. Have we done that once this year?
No, I don't think that's
so. Here's the other thing. Like, I believe the superstar is still in there. I think we're heading down Paterson Avenue here. I suspect that guy will show up here. So long as he didn't come back too early from the injury in 28 minutes, you would hope not. I think you're going to get to Quinn Hughes taking things over and winning Canucks games, not on his own, it's a team sport, but being the primary catalyst of victory.
On the ice for 3 Canuck goals, but yeah, ultimately a guy that is just helping from way back in the play, not in the primary scoring.
A secondary and support player last night, basically.
Yeah. But he plays 25 minutes, and again, sort of the best defense is just having the puck on his stick sort of mentality.
Like he played 28 minutes.
Did he play 28?
28:04. Wow. 28:04.
Omnipresent.
Right back into the lineup, son. You're going to play 28:04 tonight.
I hope
Petey played 22:44 last night. Now, this is overtime, so there's 5 extra minutes.
Like, you don't play him 28 minutes if he's not 1,000% healthy.
One
right?
would hope not, right? One would hope
and if
not.
he's 1,000% healthy.
Yeah, I just hope this wasn't a captain looking at his team going, oh, my God, we were so terrible in Minnesota. I got to rush back and make sure.
I don't think they allow that to happen anymore.
I hope not. What's up with Yellow Dog? Or Neighborhood. Or Foolish.
It's November now. I told you about one sale beer yesterday. But it's not just one. There's 2 sale beers in the month of November because, again, we're getting into the holiday season, perhaps. Neighborhood's Way of Life yesterday. Today, Yellow Dog's Chase My Tail Pale Ale. 4-packs on special for the month of November. Look for it on sale at private and government liquor stores.
There are a few things I prefer than to get home from a work week on a Friday, especially if it happens to be nice and I can sit outside and crack that Chase My Tail.
It's pretty nice.
I just so like the taste.
That's generally the first criteria, yeah.
Well, I like beer writ large.
I know this.
And I do try and when I'm sessioning, try and drink a lighter one. We're not young anymore, Blake. We got to watch these sorts of things. But I do treat myself to the chase myself.
See, I do like beer a lot, but I opened up a beer.
Well, you're a wine guy, though.
No, not anymore.
You used to be a very big wine guy.
I opened up a beer from a competitor that was left behind at my house from somebody the other day.
Some might say you still are.
Halfway through the can, I was like, I can't do it. Just poured it out. Like, it was, I could not do it. Like, good beer is good beer.
And they do good beer.
They do.
Yellow Dog neighborhood for sure. Here's the JPAT tweet I was talking about. Mike, do we have this? What stands out for you there, Blake? When you look at that list of happenings, events through 14 games in this Canucks season, what pops out at you? Give me one you want to talk about from that long list. And for those of you listening on audio pod, 7-7 record, 30 different players, 4-0 beyond regulation, 3 regulation victories, 5-4 on the road, 9 goals for Sherwood, 69% penalty kill, Lankinen perfect in the shootout, OT buzzer beater, dreadful at faceoffs, blah, 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 blah. 1 point per game player, a sampling.
Okay, so on the glass half full side, I'll say the 30 different players in combination with the 7-7 record. I mean, that tells a huge story that they were able to fashion a 7-7 record with that, which points to an injury issue.
Yeah.
Glass half empty side of things, 3 regulation victories.
I was going to say, I know he's going to pick the regulation.
That's hockey.
But
that's playoff hockey, right? That's hockey.
We brought him the stat last week that through the first 100 and however many games of the league schedule, the number of 1-goal wins or 2-goal wins, including an empty netter, was 80%. So, like, they're not the only one that's in all of these close games. Mm-hmm. I would bet there's other teams out there that have a low total of regulation victories or have been hairs on their chinny chin in their victories.
Do you want to know a scary stat?
Like the Kings have 2 regulation wins.
How about this stat? The Colorado Avalanche are 7-1-5 on the season. 7-1-5, and you're thinking 5?
Yeah.
Yes, the Avs have lost 3 games in OT and 2 in the shootout. So we've talked about the parity in the league. In a universe next to ours here, the Avalanche are like 12-1.
Yeah.
Like, things go better past regulation for them.
Montreal leads the Atlantic with 4 regulation wins. Now, granted, they've only played 12 games.
Right.
It is razor-thin margins, airtight games this year in the National Hockey League. For me, I'm going to take Kiefer Sherwood's 9 goals. He's almost halfway to last year's total.
Yeah.
He still doesn't have an assist. The Cy Young is intact. And he leads the Canucks by 3 goals, but only because Boeser potted 2 last night. Otherwise, he'd have been doubling up the rest of the Canucks group.
I hope,
and of course,
he gets a couple goals soon so that we can just say he's definitively in the home stretch to match last season. Mm-hmm. Sometime middle November.
Yeah. And of course, if he gets to 11-0, he'll probably start the All-Star game for the American League.
If you're double-digit wins, you're usually starting the
All-Star game.
Yeah. Except if you're Todd Stottlemyre, because you were probably 10-10 at the All-Star game. He always had big totals on both columns.
That was pitching back then, baby. Like, especially with guys who battled like Stottlemyre. Like, you were going to take your fair share of decisions one way or the other. Let's get to today's menu. It's brought to you by Greta. Fantastic spot to watch the big game. Hey, pregame and postgame there. You were steps from the arena and the stadium, so very convenient. If you need a venue for team building, check out Greta. Great street food menu. I love the beef tacos. And, of course, the arcade and Circles the Bar, fun for everyone, game for everyone. Check it out for more info. Book your event, gretabar.com, Greta 50 West Cordova. Let the games begin. We're going with J-Pat here. J-Pat's up next.
Yes.
On all things Vancouver Canucks, including this tweet we just talked about. And a great observation from Jeff about the three kings, if you will, of this Canucks team, skaters, and the celebration last night after the game win.
By the way, somebody in the chat is saying the JPAT analysis fails to mention strength of schedule. The teams have not been difficult necessarily. But again, road-heavy schedule. So mitigates your judgment of that a little bit.
Do you know what Bar Mexico is?
Nope.
Cam Robinson is here to explain, as well with what he's hearing on Steven Stamkos and the Canucks' interest, plus on some young British Columbia hockey studs. And then later in the program, we will get into, as we mentioned off the top, a massive day of trading on the NFL trade deadline, including the Seahawks going out and taking a big swing with an explosive receiver down the field. We'll get to the Lions, who, of course, are in Regina this week for the West Final. The Whitecaps, who've got a break between their next playoff game, but we'll have a number of players off on international duty. And a couple of other things, some loose ends on the baseball beats, including when fans become fans. And here's it's split on gender lines. We can identify a time when boys become fans of a team, follow them for a lifetime.
Boys are an algorithm. Women are an enigma. I think we knew this.
Studies show. All that is coming up on today's program. Let's get to our Bet365 bets of the day. I was a loser yesterday, Blake, because I was on Philip Roenick to score a goal. He put a bunch more shots on net last night, did Phil, but he only gets an assist. Did you win yesterday?
I don't remember yesterday.
Of course not.
No. I've been better at that lately, but yesterday,
no.
Don't recall.
Nah.
I'll go, though. Ducks have surprised everybody this year. And, boy, they're fun in those orange unis. I like the orange unis.
So do I. And I love that they've leaned into the cartoon, basically, of
the home opener.
Disney
everybody got a duckbill
origins.
mask. Are you
Absolutely.
kidding me? That was so good.
Because you need – so, first of all, it's Southern California. They're a little bit flighty and flaky to begin with. Secondly, you are never going to escape the Disney origins of your franchise.
No.
Everyone knows why you're named Ducks. Used to be Mighty Ducks. It was a promotional vehicle for Michael Eisner and for Emilio Estevez and their film. You tried to run from that.
Silly.
No. Lean on in. Don't worry. The big meanies and toxic males in the rest of the hockey world are not holding this against you anymore.
Ducks are playing good. 7-3-1. They've got the diminished Florida Panthers coming into town. Yeah, they're the Stanley Cup champions. So, Bet365 still giving them some shine. No, jump on the Ducks. Plus 135 at home in Anaheim for the Ducks over the Panthers.
Adam Foote talking about Elias Pettersson's defensive work this year. Just this week. Selke candidate has been a phrase attached to his name this season by you, Blake Price, and by others on social media.
Well, aspirationally.
Now, I don't think he'll win because it's a reputational award, and B, the Canucks are abysmal on the PK, and Elias is not yet a primary penalty killer, and Foote even talked about this week not overusing him on that unit. But he's plus 10,000 to win the thing, 100-1 on the futures menu. And if the Canucks do become masters at the 3-2, 2-1 scoreline in a year where Sasha Barkov is going to miss, puncher's chance on Elias for the Selke. This segment, a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game, use code NATION when doing so. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. J-Pat, next. So here's some price from the Historic Wall Center.
I am hungry. And that means pizza. Best bang for the buck you can find. Always tasty. And right now you can get a double XL 3-topping pizza. Sit down. You don't want to be bowled over by this. $19.99. $19.99 for a double XL 3-topping. It's an 18-inch pizza. 8 huge slices. It's the go-to game viewing pizza. Don't forget the creamy garlic dip as well. It's only a pizza. It's actually Canadian.
I sometimes take Cornwall home on a nice day like today when it's sunny, just to look at the beach and the mountains and whatnot. And there's a location right there.
They've always got slices too.
Turn off, exactly, and they always have slices. So you get a slice, you have lunch, you go sit on the beach and look at beautiful British Columbia.
There you go.
Here's Jeff Paterson.
We like to look at him too.
Speaking of beautiful British Columbia in his BC sweatshirt, Jeff Paterson, our Canucks reporter, the host of RinkWide Vancouver, was busy at it last night unpacking a Canucks victory in Music City. Jeff, how you doing?
I'm good. I was thinking to myself, we do this for a living, right? Our job is to watch the Canucks, to focus on the Canucks, and then talk about them every day. Most of our listeners and viewers also fall, I think, in that sort of hardcore-ish. They follow the Canucks pretty closely and know what's going on. But there is, and I sometimes have to remind myself, there is that sector out there that is casual, certainly in the regular season, right? End of the workday, they want to flip on the hockey game, and they want to be entertained. And through 14 games, have they not been entertained? There's just been a little bit of everything from this hockey club, and through it all adds up to 7-7. But just the way that they've arrived at some of these results with comeback wins and blown leads and buzzer beaters, and we know the injury story and underperformance from guys that you expect, overperformance from guys that maybe you didn't. These first 14 games have been full. We love storylines in this business. We've had storylines, and we've got a bunch of them again coming out of the win in Nashville.
Well, let's bring up your tweet then, Jeff, because I saw you piecemeal it out point by point on this Vancouver Canucks season through 14 games. Okay, Mike having a little trouble with the formatting here, but 7-7, 30 different players, 4-0 beyond regulation, just 3 regulation victories. 5-4 with 9 of the first 14 coming on the road, which is more than acceptable.
Yep.
Kiefer Sherwood has 9 goals. At one point, you're playing with 8 regulars out. Now we're down to 7. The penalty kill is abysmal at 69%. We had an OT buzzer beater last night. When do you see those? Lankinen is perfect in the shootout. He's the best ever in the shootout. They can't win a face-off. And while there's tons of other... What singularly stands out to you from the long list that you tweeted today, Jeff, about this Canucks season through 14?
That they have managed to patchwork the 7 victories and 5 different game-winning goal scorers, because really a team that kills penalties at sub 70% has no business winning 7 of its first 14 games. And we have all lived through this recently since the pandemic, where that kind of penalty killing sunk the Canucks, not just on a nightly basis, but really dragged their season into a gutter. So I see that. I see the face-off issue. I still think of the spotty performance of Elias Pettersson, and not just EP40, but it was nice to see Brock Boeser break out with a big night, and Jake DeBrusk has underperformed, and obviously missing Quinn Hughes the way that they have. I commend the guys that have thrown on that uniform on a nightly basis to get to this point. What I think we've seen from the Canucks through 14 games, guys, is that they have established a credible floor of what's possible with spread scoring, with good goaltending most nights, and obviously the record beyond regulation time. That's allowed them to win 7 of their first 14. What I don't know, and there's no way of knowing given all the injuries, but even when they get guys back, I still don't know the ceiling for this group. And 500 after 14 games, that's fine. Look at the Pacific Division. It's a mess right now. So they're within an arm's length of the division lead, which is wild to think of all those storylines. And here they are hanging with everybody else in the Pacific Division. But just the fact of the matter, hockey math, they're going to need 95 or 96 points. That is 14 games above 500. Does this team when it's at its best, does it have a couple of 8-2 runs over 10-game stretches? And that I just don't know, and I'm not sure I feel comfortable believing that that's the ceiling for this group. And yet, hockey math again tells you that you're going to have a kind of, like, you can get to 500 after 20 games. All you've done is burned off 20 games, and then you still have to be, 12, 13, 14 games above 500 rest of the way. So can they get on one of those absolutely red hot streaks? I mean, I guess if that Trudemko goes lights out, and if Quinn Hughes has, a stretch there where he is one of the best players in the National Hockey League, but that's kind of what they're up against. Again, 7-7, given all the challenges, pretty impressive. I'm not sure about this group and whether it has a couple of 8-2 runs over the course of the rest of the season.
Great that they live in a house without a basement. It's built on a concrete slab, high floor.
It's like a Florida house. They don't have basements.
But it might have 7-foot ceilings. Might be a post and beam with 7-foot ceilings where you have to duck everywhere.
Some of those low-laying areas too silty.
Yeah,
can't have a basement.
Rancher, no.
It's a rancher for sure. The question is how high are the ceilings?
Does it have one of those Vancouver special balconies though in the front?
The return of Connor Garland would certainly
those
help.
Balconies.
I don't know what you mean.
You don't know a Vancouver special?
No. Well, yes.
You're so into real estate, you don't know the Vancouver special?
Just the basic house in Marpole, that sort of area.
But with the balcony, with the ugly balcony off the sliding doors out front on the second floor. Really? Jeff, you know what I'm talking about here?
What you're talking about.
I do, and so the Canucks are going to have to. They're going to have to shop around and find some.
That might be luxurious for them. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think the other part of this Vancouver special is with the real estate market the way it is. We see some people build up, right? They want to stay in their house. They want to add a second story.
Right.
That's, I think, who the Vancouver Canucks are going to have to be if they are going to hang with the big boys and ultimately be above the playoff bar.
Well, with cap space, the zoning is difficult right now to stay with the real estate theme here. Connor Garland coming back would obviously help this team immensely, and so would Teddy Bluger. And both those guys were name-checked by Adam Foote before the game yesterday. How much of an impact does that make immediately when those two guys come back? And is it immediate? Like, when do you think we'll see the whites of their eyes?
Yeah, I think the Canucks are hopeful that Connor Garland can play against the Blackhawks on Wednesday. I wonder, with 2 extra days after that, maybe you look and you say back-to-backs on the weekend. Maybe that's more realistic for him. But they will welcome him back at 5-on-5 on the power play, and certainly he had developed into a primary penalty killer for them, and they can use any help that they can get right now while shorthanded. Bluger's still a bit of a mystery to me, not even certain what the injury is other than lower body, and so I don't know the full extent. I did hear Adam Foote say that he'd be the next guy after Garland, but I don't know if that means he's right behind Garland or if that means there could be a lag in terms of his return. So when Garland gets back, I think there's a spot waiting for him in the top 6 here. Lukas Reichel certainly has not grasped the opportunity as the 2C. What they do with Reichel ultimately, we'll wait and find out there. But as the second-line center, I think even after 6 games, it's pretty clear that this is not the answer. Again, no problem with the Canucks rolling the dice and paying a 4th-round pick, but he's not the answer. So the hunt has to continue to beef up the middle of the ice for the Vancouver Canucks. So, is it as simple as plugging Garland in? But then somebody's got to play center on that second line. And so, do we see them just kind of ride with Reichel, even though there's been absolutely no bottom line whatsoever? Big revenge game for him against the Blackhawks on Wednesday. And again, if I had a better sense of Teddy Bluger coming back, that would be fine. But do we want to live in a world where Teddy Bluger is the second line center for the Vancouver Canucks, even for a short span here? But then if it's not him, then it's Ratu or Max Sasson getting bumped up. And again, all roads lead back to this idea that they weren't good enough down the middle to begin with, and they're nowhere close as we sit here, despite the 7-7 record.
How many good games has Evander Kane played, would you say? Last night was clearly one. How many of the 14 would you say, Kane was a good contributor tonight?
Yeah, maybe 4 of 14. Again, there have been some plays. Like I think of against the Oilers, winning the puck race and spinning and setting up Boeser for the goal in the first period there was a really nice play. Set up Lecker-Mackey with a nice pass on opening night against Calgary. the fact that I can pull a couple of those off the top of my head, and he only has the 5 assists, again, it's been an underwhelming on the score sheet performance. He got absolutely jobbed, and I was glad to hear Adam Foote call out the officiating after the game.
Yes.
Talk about a reputation penalty. In a 1-goal game where momentum is clearly on the Predators' side, you could feel them coming with a late push. They didn't need help from the officials there. They may have been able to get the equalizer just the way the game was going. And Evander Kane's stick stays, in my mind, below his waist, or certainly like below his shoulder pads. I don't know how they got high sticking out of that. And so I was glad to hear Adam Foote stick up for the player and for his team. I don't know if he'll hear from the league on that, because the league doesn't take a shine to coaches calling out officials. But I like the fact that Foote even went the extra mile. Said it wasn't a penalty on Kane. It was diving. Like he was trying to, after the fact, he was trying to make the call on the behalf of the officials to help them for the next time. But he hasn't lit the city or this team on fire by any stretch of the imagination, but there have been some moments. He was overdue to score. He had the one called back the other night, so it was nice to see him finally get a couple that counted for the Canucks, and turned out to be part of a winning cause.
Yeah, when people express concern about the penalties that Kane takes, boy, and the Stanley Cup final, there were several examples of this. A lot of them, Jeff, you're spot on, are reputational penalties. Like they're non-penalties that somehow get called on Evander Kane, and it appears it's more than just the Gregory Campbell effect that extends to the regular season as well. I'm with you on Foote. I always appreciate a coach's honesty. Of course, this was a pathway that Rick Tocchet didn't want to go down ever, guys. Remember, he's a good official. He's a good official. Anytime there was a officiating controversy for him to address in the postgame, I'm worried about calls going against the Canucks tomorrow because Foote was so candid. And we know that's the thing as well with NHL officials.
I don't know. For one guy that now has a reputation for taking penalties, I don't mind a guy going to bat for one guy. I think blanket.
Well, he's been drawing penalties too.
Right.
Like that's the other thing is at least the officials on the other end of the ice are giving him a fair shake with regards to.
But the blanket, hey, the officials suck in this league, not smart. But hey, guys, not everything Evander Kane does is a penalty. I don't mind that. I think that's okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a fairly soft sell in that regard, and he was more sticking up for his own player, I thought, than really like going at or after the referees there. But we know it's a brotherhood of stripes, and we have seen certainly in the past that they don't have a short memory. I will say this, that the Vancouver Canucks, forget the penalty killing percentage if you can, and at 69.4%, it's hard to put that aside. They're taking way too many penalties. Now, ones like that one get added to the list, but there are only 4 teams in the league that have taken more minor penalties than the Vancouver Canucks, or have been shorthanded more than the Canucks have. So they've given up the most power play goals against, tied with Ottawa at 15. They've got some company there with Travis and Nolan Baumgartner, who are having their old problems in the nation's capital. So, you're number 1 in the league in giving up power play goals, but you're this short-staffed group right now, and they don't seem to be learning from their problems here. Like the best way to kill penalties is to stay out of the box entirely. And the penalty kill has become a real concern, that now it's more power play goals given up than games played. And that's just a genuine, generally that's a really difficult formula to overcome. Like this team isn't good enough to be spotting opponents a goal on the power play every single night out, and yet somehow through it all they've been able to tread water.
What did we make of Paterson last night? I promise to ask you that virtually every time we do a hit after a game, Jeff.
I thought he was okay. Didn't love the play or the back check on the opening goal, but he had some company there. I agreed with Adam Foote that I thought his night got better as it went along. There have been some nights already this season where he's played really well and hasn't factored in the scoring. I think to collect points at a acceptable pace, there have to be some nights like last night where he wasn't the best player on the ice. He wasn't one of the 3 stars, and yet he gets an assist on the game-winning goal. He has 2 points on the night, and so impossible to look there and say, hey, this guy didn't contribute, was a total non-factor. But again, against the Nashville team that's not very good without Roman Josi, you keep waiting for the big night where he is hands down the best player on the ice. I didn't think that was necessarily the case, but my goodness, guys, that overtime winner, And there was so much in that one play with 10 seconds remaining on the clock. Like, did you notice Philip Forsberg just blowing the zone and looking for the home run stretch pass? And if that didn't materialize, I think there was also a defensive element on the part of the Preds where if Forsberg busts out to center ice like a wide receiver, he takes Quinn Hughes with him. And the Predators are probably thinking, oh, well, neutralize the Canucks' most dangerous player, and we'll take our chances with 10 seconds left that what can happen in 2-on-2 battle. The Canucks practice 2-on-2 battles down low in the corner almost every time they step onto the practice sheet. So as I watched that play unfold, I was thinking, like, I have seen them work on this kind of stuff so often. And as the puck went to the corner, I don't know about you guys, I just thought, all right,
game over.
They're going to jam it up. Yeah, they're going to jam it up and onto the shootout, and they'll take their chances there. So a good reminder to play to the final buzzer. Brock Boeser wins his battle. Jeff Paterson makes the nice stick poke check that gets it onto the stick there. And Boeser again with the backhand. We've seen a couple of those from him already this season. Tucks it home. And then the celebration on the sideboards. Boeser, Paterson's the first guy to him. And Quinn Hughes, who was up ice, comes racing in. And it reminded me, remember Hughes' debut that went to overtime against Los Angeles Kings? And Shorty had the line about, you're looking at the future of the Vancouver Canucks. And the three of them celebrating, they were the first three. They were the three that were on the ice, and just kind of took me back in time. And the other part there is that Brock Boeser hadn't scored an overtime goal, didn't score a single overtime goal last year, even though the club went to overtime, I think, 24 times. He probably missed a few with some injuries, but he hadn't scored an overtime goal since February of 2024, so coming up on 2 full years since Brock had deposited a puck in overtime. You think of wide spaces and back and forth and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't necessarily suit Brock Boeser, but this new approach for the Vancouver Canucks to overtime, slowing it down, holding on to pucks, possession. What they did last year clearly didn't work for them. And so, as we all kind of try to figure out Adam Foote and some of his strategies, it does seem like they're trying to play a patient game in overtime, not to turn pucks over, not to trade chances. And right now, pretty hard to argue with the results with 2 wins in overtime and 2 others in a shootout.
Same question on Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, not as sexy, but...
Same question on Quinn Hughes. What do you think of his plays? He jumps back almost 25 minutes. He's on the ice for 3 goals, but he's 3 goals 4, but doesn't get a point, but clearly has an effect on the game.
Yeah, games are far more entertaining whenever he's in the lineup, so I was happy to see him get in there. He got a skate in on Sunday, and he looked ready to go. And for a guy that had missed a week with the groin issue, there were some that I think felt the Canucks were rushing him. Why would they fly their captain all the way to Nashville just to play a game when the next one was at home? But he knows the situation that they're in. They need healthy bodies, and he's one of the best, if not the best, that they've got. So when he got the green light, he was going to get back in there. Again, didn't love the play on that first one where he pinches and doesn't win the battle and then kind of saunters back defensively as Forsberg gets a couple of cracks at it. But like his team, gained some traction as the night went on the 6-on-5, the second Kane goal. Like that looked like vintage Quinn Hughes just dealing at the top, putting the Predators in the spin cycle and ultimately creating space that allowed him to get the puck down low. And, it is kind of funny, guys. And I think this is important. They went 2-2 without Quinn Hughes. I think it was important that they proved to themselves that they could win some games without the captain. But they've won twice in overtime now, and he hasn't figured in either of the goals. The one against the Oilers, he wasn't in the lineup. And last night, he's on the ice, but he's out in the neutral zone. Again, you've heard me say, I think they defer to him too much, and I know he's the best player. But for the Canucks to recognize that it doesn't always have to be Quinn doing the heavy lifting in every situation is just a reminder that there are other talented players on this team, and sometimes they're going to have to go it alone. And so they have found a way. It is wild, really, when you think of their troubles in overtime last year with one of the most dynamic skaters in hockey, and it doesn't equate to automatic victories. So he's going to play. He's going to play a lot. You know that. But I just thought it's interesting that they're 2-0 in games decided in OT, and he hasn't been a factor in either one of the goals. And I say that as a compliment to the other guys rather than somehow pointing a finger at Quinn and saying, oh, he shouldn't. Of course, he should be on the ice. But it's just that having him on the ice doesn't automatically lead to the success that you think it might.
We haven't asked him the Redwoods golf course poll question yet, so let's end on that. Tom Willander, is he in the NHL to stay, Jeff? I mean, he only plays 11 minutes last night, but, fabulous play and assist for his first NHL point. He did play 16 minutes in Minnesota. So you tell me, Willander, here to stay?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of things on the ice time. One is Quinn was back, and I know it's a lefty-righty, but Quinn takes up all the oxygen, you know that, and so it's just going to be a trickle-down effect there. Tight game in the third period, and trying to lock down a lead, and then ultimately a couple of penalties that they had to kill. Willander's not a penalty killer, so not surprised there. He ultimately had one shift over the final 10 minutes of the third period, but in his limited moments, like I liked a lot about the play that led to his first NHL point in the building, in which he was drafted a couple of years ago. Open ice, uses his God-given gift of skating, recognized that there was an opportunity to enter the zone with control of the puck. He got a fortunate bounce sort of through traffic and onto the stick of Brock Boeser, but still, I mean, he draws traffic to him. It creates space in the middle of the ice, and ultimately Boeser doesn't miss from that spot. So is he here to say? I'm going to say yes, that it feels like he has moved ahead of Victor Mancini, and that's unfortunate because the old adage in sports, but you don't lose your spot due to injury. But with all of these guys battling, right now, it just feels like he's able to give them competent, capable minutes. And then the fact that he got in over P.O. Joseph, who 200 games in the NHL, a guy that has shown he can play the left and the right side. There was a decision to make there. I don't know if it was a difficult one, but after the games in St. Louis and Minnesota, I think the Canucks coaching staff wanted to stick with Willander, and that meant that P.O. Joseph was the odd man out. So I think there is some dust to settle down around the 6, 7, 8 slots on the depth chart, if and when everybody's healthy at the same time. But in the here and now, yeah, I think Tom Willander is part of their top 6. And look, he looked good. I thought Petey on the 4-3 goal, he really struggled there with tried to clear it into traffic and then let Bunting get to the front of the net and get inside position on him. So it wasn't a banner night for one of the other young defenders, but Tom Willander at the end of the night on the ice for 1 goal, 4 and none against. And as a defender, your job is to keep the puck out of your own net. So I think it was another big step in the right direction for the former first rounder.
Vancouver specials are front-gabled 2-story boxy houses built on grade with low-pitch roofs. They contain shallow balconies on the second floor, accessed by sliding glass doors. The front door is typically set to the side of the house, which allows for main living quarters on the upper floor. Secondary suites on the bottom, ground-level facades, Blake, brick or stone, stucco at the higher levels.
Okay, I got you. I got this one. Yeah.
That stucco is so ugly, but the rest of it, good stuff. We have our own Vancouver special. Jeff Paterson, talk to you.
We do.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Harrison Price from the Historic Wall Center.
And the segment brought to you by your Pacific Toyota dealers who want to talk to you about the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. Actually, they don't want to talk to you. They want you to experience it.
They want to see you.
Head to your Pacific Toyota dealer. Say those 2 annoying knuckleheads, Harrison Price, told me to experience the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid, because by this point, you're going to assume hybrid's probably very good on gas. It is. You can drive it as an electric vehicle exclusively, in fact, if you want to. But you don't want that to take away from your enjoyment on the road. And this thing is a boatload of fun to drive. There's one downstairs right now. Walk past it in the parking lot. I was like, gosh, that is a darn good-looking car. And it's fun to drive. And right now it's pretty darn cheap. $99 weekly, 3.49% APR for 64 months with $3,600 down. That includes a $3,000 discount. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today.
Cam Robinson joins us. He's the Grand Poobah of Elite Prospects. It's a much longer title than that, but we can't do that title each and every week. Grand Poobah works from here on.
Get a furry hat with horns on it.
Exactly.
Sounds pretty good.
The Buffalo Lodge.
Yeah.
With his sidekick, Barney. He joins us from his home on Vancouver Island. What did you think of the game last night?
Well, I mean, they need to win those games. I think that's first and foremost. You have to. You can't punch down. You have to rise to the occasion. You know, they outshot them. They outchanced them, even though they didn't necessarily control the flow of play at 5-on-5, you know, to a demonstrative level. But I thought they kept, you know, the Preds' chances to like medium or long range, you know, danger. Obviously a couple point shots that found their way in, but man, like they didn't bury him when they had the chance. They got a bit lucky there with that that 1 second left, or 0.6 or whatever when Brock finished it off. But compared to last year, their extra time there is so much better, right? Getting their 4-0 versus last year they struggled mightily. But man, oh man, just what is it? Three wins in regulation this year, or is it 4?
Three.
Yeah, that's not ideal. They're weathering a storm with when Quinn was out. Obviously, Garland's out. So but they're also riding just that red hot PDO too, right? Their expected goals for, their expected goals against, like they are top or bottom of the league, however you want to look at it there. So they're lucky to be where they at in the standings, but they're lucky to get the 2 points last night, and they need those 2 points. So getting Quinn back, obviously, that's huge.
That's the existential question. They're on. There's a lot of stats that you expect to regress in the wrong direction for them, but the injuries are at such a grotesque level right now that you can reframe this and say, hey, they're keeping their head above water with the most difficult circumstances thrust upon them. I mean, I would caution that. I think, Cam, don't you think that people have to be wary of, just because these guys get healthy doesn't mean you become a Stanley Cup contender, but I think you have a chance of being better and looking better in a game like this, right? Like a fully healthy roster, I would think comfortably seals this victory. At least you'd hope so.
You would hope so, for sure. And, you saw Demko maybe not at his sharpest last night, where he has been so strong for them early on in the season. It'd be better if they were keeping their head above water through these injuries against playoff teams. And then you'd be like, look at that. They're holding it up. But, exactly right. They've seen Chicago, seen Calgary, seen Nashville, seen Minnie, stole one out of St. Louis. So it's, the tougher road is coming, but you hope that they're healthy and then things are going to start to kind of move in a positive direction. But a lot of, red flags and warning bells, but at the same time, points are points. And you got to just, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you get them, what it looks like. You just got to rack up as many as you can early on in the season, especially when they're kind of beaten up.
One of the things we're learning in the early days of watching Evander Kane night in, night out is, boy, are referees quick to blow a whistle when he's around the puck.
One way or the other.
One way or the other. He's drawing penalties. He's getting called for penalties, some of them phantom. Cam, is this the MO? Are we going to see a lot of penalty? Because special teams has been a thing for the PK is a real problem for the Canucks right now. Power play isn't great either. Is that something you anticipate to continue? Like, for those who have watched Evander Kane day in, day out in his career, is this sort of par for the course?
It seems like it has been in the latter half of his career. Maybe it has been consistent throughout the whole career. I haven't watched him that closely going back when he played in Winnipeg and Atlanta and all those. But he's a polarizing player on the ice. And so he does draw attention with his play. He does have great wheels, so he can draw penalties. We see that. He'll try to get into hard areas and draw those. But at the same time, he can get his hands out and get him around, or the stick out onto the hands, or cause those, phantom calls where he's not getting the benefit of the doubt just because of the reputation that he's earned throughout his career. So I expect it will be similar throughout the season. And you just have to keep working with him. It's like, you can't put yourself in a position for them to make a call, even if it's going to be a soft call. You just can't put yourself in that position.
And he's good for the Canucks last night. So is Jake DeBrusk. Cam, help me out. Why is Jake DeBrusk so streaky? Like, why do we go 2 weeks without mentioning his name in a positive sense, and then we're talking about him like virtually every day for the better part of a week or 10 days? What's the deal there, bro?
Man, you can almost set your watch to DeBrusk too in November. The calendar flips over to the next month. And, last year I looked it up, 14 of his 28 goals came between November 2nd and December 6th. He seems to like post Halloween is when he gets the juices start flowing. But when it comes to streaky players, oftentimes it's between the ears, right? Is that, yes, it's difficult. You're not going to score every night. It's just, you're not that talented a player, but you need to be doing the right things to give yourself the opportunities. And he does seem to go dark for stretches. And then you have to assume it's a confidence thing at this stage of his career, because he knows the league. He understands what he needs to do to prepare and be there. He's not like a sniper either, where snipers just tend to get hot and they can finish from outside and sometimes they can't. But he's one of these guys that if he's getting to the net front, He can finish. We saw it last night. If he's around the net, if he's around scoring areas, he has the touch. It's just he has to get there and he has to time it right and he has to have the confidence. So when he does get the puck, it's not, chopping salad for a quick second and letting that guy get on you. It's bang, off your stick and into the back of the net.
Well, truthfully, he needs to score that goal where the penalty is called the cross-check. I mean, that's like a goal scorer scores that goal, and he gets 2 tries at that, and he is stonewalled. If he's hot, I think he gets that goal as well.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And so he was fortunate to find himself the back of the net after that too, because that was a couple grade A chances that, the way Brock's feeling it right now or something like that, that's an automatic goal, right? He doesn't need the second chance. Yeah, and
Brock's finish on the last second goal is a great sign for Vancouver Canucks fans. He is not...
the pass is great too.
A little chop at it.
That was great.
But he's redefined himself, Brock Boeser, hasn't he? Because we thought he'd be a sniper when we first laid eyes on him, the young Brock Boeser there. His shot is fine, but it's not world class, I wouldn't call it. But he just finds a way to score goals, and that's a pretty helpful player too.
Oof, is it ever? I love Brock. And I mean, he still went, bar down, bar Mexico on that one too, off of the Wielander's first NHL point too. So he still has that gear to him where he can just beat you clean when you give him time and space. But yeah, he's one of these players who knows how to find time and space, and then he knows how to finish, even if it's not a rocket of a release anymore. That exact example, digging in the corner, pop to the soft area, Petey gets him the puck, and he knows how to finish on the backhand. So he makes the most of his opportunities, and it's great to see too. He's a highly valuable player for them.
You mentioned Wielander.
No, hold on a second. I can't let this slide. Bar Mexico?
Yeah. I'll give credit to my my coaching compatriot there, Jesse Ross. He taught me that one where you walking downhill and you hit just Bar Mexico. And I asked him, I'm like, where did that come from? And just some junior team that he played on 100 years ago. You get your own lingo going with your own teams there. And now I picked up to, I'm telling the boys, we got to go. You got time in the slot. We got to go Bar Mexico, boys.
So that's like bar down because Mexico
down to
is...
Mexico? Is that...
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
You never know the genesis.
Why not Guatemala?
Bar Guatemala. It's just it's too toothy there, right? It fills up your mouth too much, right?
Bar Panama.
There you go. Yeah. Still,
you mentioned the Willander pass. Let's go deeper on him. I don't know that anybody truly knew what to expect of him. I think people had high hopes for him eventually in his pro career. How fast it came, I think you're going to get a different answer from a lot of different people. But I like the sample size so far, and I like the sample so far. The sample size is pretty small. What do you think? Has he changed your mind? Is he on track? Where do you think we are with Tom Willander and his ability to stay in the NHL this season?
I think you love what you're seeing from him in this quick little evolution. Obviously, that first game, the opening night, the jitters, they kind of had him bubble wrapped. But then, Quinn out, him playing significant top 4 minutes with Marcus Pettersson. I thought he was good. He was fine. But last night, only 10 minutes of ice too. But down on that third pair, I thought he was showing the most confidence, right? He rang that one off the pipe. He went for that rush. But even before that rush, where he got that point, that read and that pinch down the wall to battle and to have the confidence to do that as a young player and then trust your skating to get back and then use your skating to come in, delay. Sure, the pass didn't actually even go where it was intended. It, got a little deflection to go to Brock there, but finished up at it all. It's the primary apple, no matter how you cut it up. But, playing with Petey, who actually had one of his worst defensive games, I would say, a couple of misreads, a couple of slow foots and getting knocked down there, is that he still played well despite their pair being underwater on the shot share. I thought he was very good defensively. I thought he was more confident offensively. When they're healthy, do you want him playing 10 minutes a night every night? Probably not. Maybe best to go send him back to Abbey and let him play 22 and really get that confidence going and get all those reps and keep those feet moving and then bring him up when you need him again. I think that's probably best. But if you give him more and he can handle it, why not? He's another valuable piece that they need to bring along properly. So it has to be long-term, the vision long-term.
Yeah. So you think he'll see Abbotsford again then?
I do. When they get fully healthy, I imagine he will take a turn back down there and get more minutes. Just because, like I said, unless you're going to play him 14 a night. If you're going to play him 14 a night, then keep him up. If he can handle it and he's doing well, then I all for it. But if you're going to play him 10, I think he's probably better served down there.
Yeah, merits of Willander over Mancini or vice versa, Cam. How do you see that shaking down?
Or even DP, who's been uneven this year, right? He can still go down too.
He can, for sure, and I think you might end up seeing that if Willander continues to outplay him. With Mancini, that one again is that Mancini, he's kind of this like unbridled stallion. He where you have to rein him in a little bit, but he's older. He has loads of experience at the AHL level already. Going back down there for him is just to maybe clean up some of the rough edges on his game, but you can still do that at the NHL level too. And his long-term development, there isn't as much runway, is that you don't risk, kind of limiting his upside by playing him 10 minutes a night in the NHL, I don't think, versus Tom, you would. So again, it's just who's playing well, who's injured where, who's getting enough minutes. You can even rotate him up and down, I think, too, if they want. They could send DPD down, they could bring him back up, do all sorts of things as the season moves on.
We talked about this gentleman late last week. I know you've done some poking around as well, but what can you tell us about the Vancouver Canucks interest pursuit, whatever word you want to use, of Steven Stamkos?
Yeah, I saw Rick when he reported that someone had said that they had kind of kicked the tires on Stamkos, and I had heard that a few days earlier too, and I just kind of chalked it up to maybe not much there, and I kind of dug into it a little bit since then, and I was told to be cautious on reporting how serious that is. That I think the Canucks are casting a very wide net, that they are checking in on anyone and everyone, checking in on teams. Hey, is this guy available? What could this look like? What could this look like? But far beyond hey, this is something that's really moving in the direction that it could happen in the near future, which isn't surprising, right? It even at half the tag, you're still taking a pretty big risk that he finds his game again, but it's clearly not working in Nashville for him.
Can he play center anymore?
Yes, he can play center. I still, he stopped playing center in Tampa Bay, a little while ago because they had the luxury of some really talented centers there. But could he come into Vancouver and be a competent second line center for them? The 40-goal Steven Stamkos from 2 seasons ago, absolutely. The guy with whatever 2 or 3 points this season that looks sluggish. It's that's a big ask. Is it an upgrade on what they have in their lineup right now? It probably still would be, but again, you wouldn't be wanting taking on even taking him at $4 million for what he could bring. It's not a long-term solution by any means, and it might not even be a short-term solution. So it's just all risk and not a ton of reward.
I'm with you on that, and strangely, he's played 70% of his time this year at center for the Nashville Predators. So.
Win draws. Yeah.
The gamble did not pay off for Vitaly Kravtsov. He's on waivers for the purpose of contract termination. It was a worthwhile endeavor, wasn't it? But there was nothing there, not even at the AHL level, just 4 points in this 10 games with Abby.
I chalked that up a little bit too. It's he came over to play in the NHL, and if it wasn't going to work, he's I'll go to the AHL if I'm close and maybe I can get bumped up. But I think the writing was on the wall right from the get-go when you saw him at camp. You're this isn't close, and that means it's probably not going to have. He's not going to have the effort down in the American League, and he'll head back to Russia and get his top 6 minutes and have more fun.
And his $1 million.
Yeah.
You've got an exciting weekend. You are heading to East Lansing, Michigan to take in the big college hockey showdown between the Michigan State Spartans and Gavin McKenna's Penn State Nittany Lions. And I see things haven't exactly gone tickety-boo for McKenna, the presumptive first overall pick in the 2026 NHL entry draft. What's your assessment there, buddy?
Yeah, excited to I get to spend a few days with the Spartans there and kind of be a fly on the wall, see if I get invited to a rookie party or something. But with McKenna, and obviously excited to see Gav a couple times this weekend live for the first time this year. I've seen him, plenty of times live previously, but it's not easy playing college hockey. It's a big jump from junior hockey. You're playing against older guys, more competitive, stronger players. He's still 17 years old. I know people are kind of starting to rain down on him, he's a power play merchant. He doesn't back check. He's not playing on their top line. That top line there at Penn State they played together last year, Serrato and them. It's a dominant line. If he was playing on that line, I bet you'd have 4 or 5 more points too. So he's kind of had a revolving door of center winger combinations with him this year. he's going to find his way. And I tried to tamp down a little bit early in the season or preseason. People were like, could he get 65? Could he get 75 points this year? It's like, if he goes out and puts up 45 points, I think that's a strong year. But is it enough to be a slam dunk first overall pick, or, people talking generational talent? Probably not. So I think he's going to find his legs. I think that the World Juniors next month is going to be really good for him. Go back and play against U20 competition, light it up for a couple weeks, head back to school. He's going to be just fine. He's a heck of a player, and I imagine he's going to find his legs more and more as the season wears on.
That top line is 20 and 21 years of age. Can you imagine what he looks like in 4 years' time? Like,
he won't be playing college hockey.
No, it's kind of funny.
But meanwhile, Keaton Verhoff, the ex-Victoria Royal, now at the University of North Dakota, the big defenseman who is the presumptive second overall pick right now, he's got 4 goals in 8 games already.
He's a player. He's a player. He's looking good too. And yes,
is there any chance here? Is there any chance, Cam, that McKenna goes second overall? Like, is that within the realm?
Absolutely. Especially if like a team like San Jose, who would love to add another impactful defender, and they have loads of talent up front. If it came down to it in June and they're picking one, I could see them going Verhoff. And let's not forget, Ivar Stenberg is putting up one of the best draft eligible seasons in SHL history too. I think he was just a point behind Daniel's mark last week anyways. And so he's putting together a heck of a season. So there is going to be competition for McKenna. He won't be the slam dunk unless he really takes off like a rocket ship. And that just makes more fun for my job too, right? It's not as much fun when it's a slam dunk, right? We like to have discourse. So it's good. And I really like Keaton Verhoff as a player and as a person. He's a good kid and very young. Like, he's a true freshman. Like, he won't turn 18 until
next summer
or something like that.
Yeah. And
6'4", 212 already.
Yeah.
He can rip it too. He can shoot that puck.
And of course, not so bad with British Columbia hockey prospects. Of course, Bedard, Celebrini. We talked about those 2 kids at Yale Academy, Cam, last week or a few weeks ago. And then is Langley's Liam Pugh the next one from our province with the Regina Pats?
He's special. He's a special player. I'm still a little miffed that he fell to 3rd overall in the Bantam draft, and so Regina got him and Schultz. When that happened, and I was hyping up Maddox Schultz, who is also an exceptional player, I had one NHL scout reach out to me and just say, like, Pugh might be the better player, might be the better NHLer. And so far in their little sample size in the WHL, whatever it's been, 8 games or something like that, Pugh's been a little more noticeable. They're both at the U17s right now. They're the youngest players there at 15 years old. Pugh dropped 5 points in the opener against Sweden. He set up all 3 of Schultz's goals, and he's wearing the captain C as a 15-year-old. Like, these kids are special, but Pugh, he impresses me every time I see him. He is very, very talented. He's going to be a good player.
Okay, so let's do rapid fire then on these British Columbians. Macklin Celebrini, on or off the Canadian Olympic team this year?
Give me Mac on that team. I would love to see.
Hell yes. Give me Macklin on that team.
Give me Mac on that team. Yeah, I want
Bedard, short-term extension in Chicago, leaving his Canucks options open. True or false?
True. Give him a 5-year deal. Walk him straight to UFA. Come on home, Connor.
And Canucks, so bad this year, they finally rebuild and have a chance at Liam Pugh and some of these great British Columbia prospects coming up. Yay or nay?
No chance this team is against the word rebuild. They will not tank no matter what. Yeah. Sorry about that. Couldn't go the clean sweep.
I know. You're a great sport, though.
Yeah.
Thanks for this, Cam. Yeah. Catch up next week.
No. All right. Talk soon, boys.
Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center in the Pacific Toyota studio built by Arborlee. Big game downtown. Make it more than just a night. Make it a memory. Stay steps from the action. The Sheraton Vancouver Wall Center with an exclusive S&P rate. Call 604-331-1000. Mention us. Some blackout date supply based on availability. Gigantic NFL trade deadline day, including the Seahawks. All the insiders said they're aggressive. They're making a lot of calls. Watch Seattle. Sure enough, big swing trade. Sent 4th and 5th round picks in the 2026 draft to New Orleans for free agent to be wide receiver Rashid Shaheed, a deep threat who should add further potency to their already potent passing game. Seattle media already talking that GM John Schneider hopes to re-sign one of the best downfield threats in the NFL. And Blake, the Seahawks have had some great drafts of late. Schneider's got his groove back, which is, I think, allowed them to part with a couple of picks for a perhaps rental wide receiver. I mean, look at this here. Gray Zabel, Nick Emanwari, Arroyo, the tight end, Torrey Horton, the receiver from this year's class alone. They've got 4 incredible contributors. Big as that trade was, Indianapolis takes an even bigger swing. They trade 2 first-round picks and a decent wide receiver in A.D. Mitchell, and they're quite deep at receiver, Indianapolis, to the New York Jets for all-world corner Sauce Gardner. Colts 7-2, tied for the best record in the NFL with, listen to best record in the NFL, Indianapolis, New England, Denver, 7-2.
Yeah, crazy.
Like, it's there for the taking this year, guys. Right? Like, I'm not sure you're fearing Kansas City, fearing Philadelphia, fearing Buffalo, even though they haven't won, like maybe in previous seasons.
No, I think it's a lot of parity. That is a steep price to play. Corner is an important position.
It's a very important position.
But you can generally get a really good corner with one of those first-round picks.
Yeah, you usually can. And the other thing is you can mitigate your defensive coverage if you do have a pass rush. But look, there's nothing like having a corner that you just put outside and say, man coverage all day. We don't need to worry about you. We'll play 10 on 10.
Yeah.
And that's what Sauce Gardner gives you. Indianapolis suddenly looking like a beast there in the AFC South.
I love, though, the Seahawks trade, though, Matt, because replacing Rick Woolen is probably the bigger priority, but I think they needed one more weapon, especially to curtail against injury. Like, God forbid something would happen to one of the two big receivers they've got in Horton and JSN right now. Mm-hmm. But this now, you've got some insurance now. You have a luxury amount of receivers.
And he stretches the field too, Blake.
Yes.
Like, JSN is good. Don't get me wrong. He can get
more
downfield.
of a possession guy, though.
But this guy will put the fear of God in opposing defenses. They're going to have to play a deep safety. They're going to have to account for his speed in the long ball.
And why did you say Sam Darnold had such a great season last year? He had great receivers.
Oh, he sure did. I mean, the Minnesota group. This is fun. Like, Seahawks football, giddy up now. I am really interested. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville trades 2 picks to Vegas for receiver Jacoby Myers, so they're trying to vie there in the AFC South as well. Dallas gets Cincinnati linebacker Logan Wilson for a seventh. Chicago.
And a Pro Bowl defensive tackle, too, and Quinn Williams as well from New York.
Oh,
Jets.
really?
Yeah.
I didn't even see that. How about that?
So the Cowboys reacting maybe to yesterday.
Boy, Jets tearing stuff.
They're done. They're a Midwest Conference team.
Chicago gets Cleveland pass rusher Joe Tryon-Shoyinka for a pick swap. He's a Seattle guy, UW guy, one-time first-round pick. Monday Night Football, Cardinals beat Dallas on the road. Stadium was half empty. NFC West now 21-12 overall, the best division in football. Seattle hosts, of course, these Arizona Cardinals coming on a short week. Sunday, where Jacoby Brissett appears to have leapfrogged Kyler Murray as the starting quarterback. Murray technically injured last night, not in uniform, but all the reporting was that he was going to play this game. It's almost like they just made the decision to go to Brissett. Murray might have to be the next Darnold, Mayfield, Jones, Daniel Ermac. High quarterback pick to find success in his next stop.
Which sort of, is it not a warning flag for falling in love with the quarterback and spending money to move up in the first round or something crazy like that? Like, he might be a great NFL quarterback, but it might not be under your logo.
I mean, especially if you don't have a team built out, like particularly an offensive line who can protect him.
Right.
Like if you've got like what Minnesota has with J.J. McCarthy now, he sat out the first full year with injury, but like they can protect up front. They've got some weapons that he can throw to, right? So like he's poised. You're putting the young quarterback in a position to succeed, as opposed to what some teams have done with the young quarterback: can't protect, don't have weapons.
Also,
the
Green Bay
begging
model.
to ruin it.
Do the Green Bay model.
Jordan Love, absolutely.
Right? Percolate.
Aaron Rodgers before that.
Yeah.
BC Lions, day one of practice in advance of Saturday's West Final in Regina. The Lions are hoping to get right tackle Dejon Allen back after he missed last week. He did play a couple weeks ago in the season finale. He will not practice today. Either way it goes, we will have a new West Division champion. A drought will be broken here. Blake, take a look at that map. The last 8 CFL West Division champions have either been the Winnipeg Blue Bombers 5 in a row, or previous to that, the Calgary Stampeders 3 in a row. It has been 10 years, because of course the canceled season of COVID, since we have had a representative other than Winnipeg or Calgary. Lions haven't been in the Grey Cup since 2011. It's the longest drought in the league. Riders haven't been there since 2013. And sticking with football, best of luck to the Okanagan Sun, who faced the Saskatoon Hilltops Sunday for the Canadian Bowl National Junior Championship. The Sun went 10-0 this year. Average score 52-9.
They sound pretty good.
They lost last year's championship. They won it in 2022. They lost to this very opponent, Saskatoon, 10 years ago, as the Hilltops reeled off 6 natties, straight natties. And Blake, let me bring you back. We talked last week about what a weekend it was, or what a week it was for Vancouver sports, with the Lions and Whitecaps in playoff games Saturday, the Canucks playing 2, the Seahawks, of course,
BC
Sunday night
Sports
football,
Equinox.
Blue Jays, Game 6, Game 7. Let me take you back to your sports reporting days in Saskatchewan, Blake.
It's a Saskatchewan Sports Equinox.
This is the province where football matters the most, of course, and listen to what they got this weekend. Saturday, the Regina Rams at Saskatchewan Huskies in Saskatoon for the Canada West Championship.
Civil War, yeah, unbelievable.
Down province later in the day, the Lions and Riders for the CFL West in Regina. And then Sunday, the Hilltops and the Okanagan Sun for the Canadian Bowl. We used to call that the Little Grey Cup.
And folks, like, the Hilltops will do numbers.
Oh, yeah.
There'll be thousands.
All these games will do numbers.
Thousands of people in the stands.
In the bitter cold with the wind whipping, that is Saskatchewan football in November. Have at it, Flatland. Whitecaps have sold upwards of $40K for their single-game elimination playoff match against LAFC. A reminder, they do not play this game till November 22nd because there is no need for deciding Game 3 versus Dallas this weekend. This weekend was reserved by MLS for those deciding Game 3s in the first round. And then comes an international window. The Whitecaps players are off until Thursday, and then we'll see who leaves for international duty. The candidates there, Ali Ahmed, Jaden Nelson for Canada, Sebastian Berhalter for the USA. Now, Brian White and Tristan Blackman have played internationally for the USA, both, of course, injured right now for the Caps, but you also tell me they are fine-tuning the World Cup roster.
Yeah.
Blackman and White are more long list friendly guys.
And Seb's on the bubble too and looking less and less likely, I think, but we'll see.
Kenji Cabrera for Peru, Andres Cubas for Paraguay, maybe Yohei Takaoka for Japan, and maybe even Eddie Ocampo for Colombia.
I had somebody suggest to me too, as we dream about a possible sellout for that Whitecaps playoff match versus LAFC. It's not contingent. It's just sort of a little sugar on top here that this will showcase BC Place even more to FIFA as they decide who plays where in the group stages of the World Cup in 2026. And the biggest, most impactful factor in these stadiums is suites. BC Place has a lot of suites. And to see that place sold out playing soccer, I think it's just a good cherry on top as FIFA makes these decisions about who's going to play where. I had somebody suggest that they think that the BC Place is going to get prime real estate in the group stage.
Yeah, I can see it.
There's going to be a non-Canadian big name team
I think it'll be England.
that plays games.
I've said it. I think it will be England. British Columbia. I think it will be England. They'll know that there are tons of expats. Blake, I went to the Arsenal Supporters Club of Vancouver watch party Saturday morning. Wasn't big, small opponent in Burnley, but talking to some of the people there, Arsenal has a supporters club here, Man U, Chelsea. I think we're going to get England. That's a prediction.
There's also a sneaky big Brazilian community here.
Yes, there is. Yep. In fact, Labor Day weekend, a couple of years ago, I found myself down in Yaletown, and like there's this huge party going on right by, they have the train there, museum, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's going on? And somebody told me, oh, it's a Brazilian National Independence Day or whatnot. I was like, oh, okay, that stands to reason.
Well, the Brazilian women have played here before, and it's drawn numbers. So we'll see.
Wouldn't surprise me in the least. But, a team with a tie to this community.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I think. Where are we? Oh, and best of luck to the Vancouver Rise of the Northern Super League. They play in a league semifinal tonight at Swangard Stadium versus the Ottawa franchise. This is a league semifinal. Win it. And a chance to play Montreal or Toronto in the championship match there in the other semi. Let me start with an E&O on our baseball side. I had read $8 million for the Canadian audience Game 7 World Series. I put that to John Shannon yesterday. Turns out it was just under $11 million. Largest audience on Canadian television since the 2010 Olympic men's hockey gold medal game. Across both countries, it was just shy of 37 million people watching the game, Blake. The most watched baseball broadcast in the U.S. since 2017. And we talked yesterday about that series-saving catch from Andy Paez being an outlier. Two outfielders facing the wall colliding, and yet somehow the catch is made. Well, somebody has done the math here, Blake. This is the warmonger, war wins above replacement, account on Twitter. The play came in as a 60% catch probability. A 3-star catch is very good as is, but can't possibly include how much more difficult this was to catch with your flailing teammate colliding with you and to save your season. Paz had to cover 121 feet because they were playing so shallow, the outfield. Remember, a fly ball scores a run.
For sure.
There were only 7 catches of 3 stars or better in the entire regular season that covered as much ground as this one. And then lastly, in terms of the legacy effect here, the postgame Saturday, I saw Jamie Campbell of Sportsnet muse about how many new baseball fans across the country over this last month. I know I took a lot of questions from friends and family members during the proceedings. Blake
did a lot of explaining.
What is a ground rule double? Why doesn't he just field the ball? Everything from that to what is it they're spitting in the dugout? Sunflower seeds. It's not tobacco. Well, it's not supposed to be tobacco anymore. I had that one.
Remember Louis Varland did the intentional balk? And,
oh, boy.
And somebody asked me why that happened. I was like, I'm not going to explain it.
They wanted to make sure there was no sign stealing from second base.
That's right.
Moved the runner over to third. It didn't matter. How about this? NYU psychology professor and Jays fan, Jay Van Bavel, a study, and it shows something we've long talked about on this show, Blake. We've always talked about the golden years in sports, that for boys approaching their teens, nothing is more important than your team, right? And winning and losing.
Yep.
You're not yet into girls. You're not yet into adult vices. So, like, sports is the be-all, end-all of your life because, of course, you're not studying. Van Bavel's study shows that boys aged 8 to 12 are particularly sensitive to an imprint of a championship and that it leads to lifetime fandom.
Interesting.
Now, I'm not sure if a near miss counts too.
I think it does.
And interestingly, the study, female fans, it's slightly different. They can identify or pick up with a team more readily at any age. That the 8 to 12-year-old window is not as big a deal as it is with boys.
We know why this is. They are emotionally more available, more mature. Yeah.
This was picked up by a gentleman named Michael Mulvihill, who is like Fox's grand poobah when it comes to understanding their audience for sports. This is a guy who studies how fans become fans and what fan bases, what groups, demographic groups are watching sports. He says, as an industry, sports badly overvalues marketing to young adults and undervalues kids and preteens. If you don't get them by 14, you're probably never getting them.
It's why the mascots are such a important thing. They are part of hooking in the young fans. They just are. And if you don't have kids or it's been that long, you wonder why Finn matters.
I was going to say,
Finn matters
can
a
you
lot.
imagine that decade of darkness without Finn?
Yeah.
And remember, they let Finn go during the pandemic? Like, just monsters. Results of the Redwoods Golf Course poll question. How have you been feeling since Saturday night, Blake? Happy or sad? And the people said?
Sad.
Indeed. Percentage?
60.
52. It's very, very close.
Yeah.
Some guy named Farhan in,
oh, God.
was he, Linden, Washington or something like that, says extra happy.
For two reasons.
Yeah. Hockey dude, unfortunately, the Canucks lost, but otherwise a perfect weekend. Okay.
Yeah, the Mariners fans were out in full force.
Yeah. Well, that's all they have, of course, because they never get to the World Series. So
It's
they
just
have
facts.
to take pot shots
Literal facts.
at teams and fan bases that do. Lastly, errors and omissions from yesterday's program and beyond. We mentioned that Ryan Gauld's kneecap injury had been compared to a football player. We couldn't place who it was. It is Las Vegas Raiders tight end Brock Boeser.
But not a perfect comparison. He was gone for 3 weeks.
Yeah, Ryan Gauld even said, it's not perfectly comparable. Well, he's gone for 3 weeks, but, I mean, he's a football player.
Well, but that puts him in more risk. You'd think you would take more time off because you're about to get into another car crash.
Like, I don't want to malign the whole sport, but they tend to play through a little more pain than soccer.
I hear you.
There's not many that, writhe on the turf after somebody grazes them.
They also run 10% of what a soccer player runs.
They are not as anaerobically in shape. I will concede that point. And lastly, Blake, we had a chance to do something great yesterday, and we blew it. What was the Canucks record before their victory in Nashville?
No. That was intentional. This was intentional.
Mike, what was that record before they won in Nashville last night?
I'm cutting the show early.
Yeah.
6-7.
We also addressed Sam Darnold's quarterback rating, which I said was flirting with history. But me and you were talking about two different ratings. There's QBR developed by ESPN, which is a 0 to 100 grade, which you said was 97 or something like that.
98, yeah.
And the official NFL statistic is called passer rating. He ended up with a 141 with the perfect game being 158.
And I have been a lifelong football fan and have studied quarterback, and I still don't know how
there is a
exactly the
rundown.
formula works.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate you spending some time connecting with the program. Please do subscribe to all our assorted channels, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. Follow on social, X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, live on many of those noon Pacific time weekdays. And, of course, support the community sponsors you hear us talking about and keep it local.